Hi, Shandy. Wow, yeah, it's incredible actually that military grade weapons are being used against civilians, and that's what's happening to all of us. And it's by the governments and by the police. And so, when the police are corrupt and they're the ones doing it, to the select people who are trying to fight for truth, it makes it very hard, doesn't it? We've only got the Lord to put our trust in. Our phones are becoming weapons, everyone. We're going to have to ditch our phones soon. At least I will have to, probably. I think I might have to move on to a computer, at this rate. I think what really gets me, like I said yesterday, I went to the shop, the charity shop, and my neighbor was there. And he goes there every time I go there. And this isn't a coincidence. This is stalking. And I know that he's fantasizing about me. Yeah, and he's a married man. And he's getting a kick out of the destruction of my life and making me look like an idiot. Making me look crazy while they torture me every day. And for me, this makes me really angry, because I also know that they're in my phone calls, my text messages, my WhatsApp. They've got bugs in my home. This is a complete invasion of privacy. Not just the torture, which is the worst part of it. But that's why it becomes so essential to keep them out of your phone. Because not only are they invading your privacy, they're using your device to torture you and listen to you and fantasize over you and also put you on the dark web. All of them having a good watch and a listen to everything you do. Watching as you have a hard day. You can't have any private moments to cry, to feel pain. There's no one to comfort you apart from the Lord. And your enemies, they've got full access to everything. And there's no law enforcement to protect us. Not only this, they actively go out to make sure that you can't operate in any way. It's the worst evil I've ever seen. I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it myself. But also I wonder about the wives, like the wife of the man who does this to me. I think she really doesn't look very good, And I think to myself, you let your husband fawn after a preacher who is celibate to the Lord and destroy someone's life. And actually, if they just spent a bit more time with their own wives, they'd be probably quite happy people. You know what I mean? Like, they're obviously not getting enough fulfillment in their relationships, to satisfy themselves. And this is because they haven't got God. And it's very interesting when you start looking at the psychological aspects of the people involved in this. Because they haven't got the Lord. They're empty. And they're jealous of anybody who has got the Lord, or is different, or shines a light, or is of the truth. And so they attack because the darkness cannot comprehend the light or overcome it. So it's a fight back, really, against God that is acted on against you. whether you believe in God or not. It's quite interesting because even if you don't believe in God, this is a war between the devil and God. So, like I say, that's what goes through my mind, is it's a lot of the time, it's men that do this. And this could be their mother or their sister, their cousin, their daughter, that they're doing it to. And also the tables will turn. When they annoy somebody within their group, then they'll go on the list. And their families will become terrorized and hacked and stalked. Because it doesn't take much when you're part of one of those groups to upset someone, for someone to decide they don't like you anymore and make up a story. And the next thing, you're being terrorized and followed and watched. So a lot of these people suffer from paranoia as well, because they're living in this state of sucking the energy out of everything. They don't trust anybody because of the evil that they do. People always value other people according to their own heart. So if they're an evil person, then they assume everyone else around them is evil. And if they're good, then they assume everyone around them is good. Like me. I automatically assume people are nice and good people because I am a nice, good person. But that doesn't mean that they're going to be. And this, in a way, is a weakness of ours because we're looking at the world with innocent eyes. And I suppose that's why we have to go through this, so we can see that other people aren't like us. They're different. I was thinking about it, the people who do this and dig up the drains and put in all these things, and the neighbors. And the neighbors, I can just imagine what they would be saying. No, I don't do anything. No. All I do is switch this light on every day. Or point this aerial, switch this button on. I don't do anything. Well, you do. Because you turned a blind eye. And you facilitated it. That means that you're perpetrating it. So, and stalking is a crime. Watching someone is a crime. Eavesdropping is a crime. Smear campaigns are a crime. Hacking, stalking, home invasions, raping people is a crime. Torturing people is a crime. So there's nothing you can do, really, to stop this from being a fact. And this is also something I've come to conclude, that if you're a child of God, then you'll be under this program attack. But if you're not a child of God, then you won't be. So then when I get people who say, oh, this pastor's amazing, nothing will harm him. I had this with someone else. I said, oh, really? Is this so? Okay. Maybe you could get them to pray for me because I'm under such a bad attack. They're obviously such a good person that they don't get the same level of attack. Or they're masquerading as a child of God. And they're not really a child of God. Because anyone who is a child of God must surely be under this attack. Surely. That's what I think. The hacking, the following, the stalking, the watching, all of those things. And also, it's not just an hour or once a week. It's every second of every minute of every hour of every day. I can hear the doors slamming next door when I get the stuff off. So it's a full-time destruction of your life exercise. I just watch in horror as my life is destroyed. But I've come to accept it. Through my destruction, I'll be reborn in Christ. Whatever happens, happens. It is the will of God. If I lose everything and end up homeless, then so be it. Nothing I can do to stop what God's plan is for my life. If God's plan is to have them destroy me, That's God's plan. Who am I to stop God's plan? If God's plan is to lift me up, then that's great. If God's plan is to answer my prayers, then that's great as well. If his plan is not to answer my prayers and allow the destruction of my life, then I've got to look at why. Why? Why is it? But it's very hard to concentrate on questions like this when you're under such an attack. I think the hardest part about it is when you go to churches and then you're told that you must be an evil person because you're under such an attack. And I know, like, my car is parked on Warren Road in Torquay, rotting, and with God FM all over it. And I wonder what people think when they walk past it. Do they go, oh yeah, that's that evil preacher that tells lies, the one that's got a picture on a porn site, that one that Gary Waterman says is a part of the whole thing. I wonder what people think, whether they research for themselves, whether people sit and look in horror and think, oh, that's awful, or whether they just walk idly by and just go, oh, let's go to the shop and buy ourselves some new clothes or whatever. Or whether they get on their knees and cry to God and say, this is not nice. I wonder what people do. There's also a church on that road, and that's a church that laughed at me when I went to them to ask them to pray for me. And they asked me how I was getting on with the demons. They wouldn't pray for me because they think I'm an evil person. Yeah, and I wonder how God views them. Does he love them? Does he answer their prayers? How come their lives aren't upside down? And that kind of thing. That's what I think about all the time. I do. I know that making the living water really helps me. Making the anointing oil really helps me. I just sent a video over with a woman crying into the pillow. And it was one that was sent to me. And I thought, I'll modify that slightly. Put that out there to support the others. But that was me last night. I had my face in my pillow, crying all night. Crying. Can't believe I live in such a horrible horror show. But again, as I say, if this is what God's plan is for us, who are we to argue with it? I don't know what the outcome will be. But we've got to hold on for our victory. God promises that no weapon formed against us will prosper. He promises that he'll wipe all our tears away. He promises that there is light at the end of the tunnel. He promises that we might walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but no harm will come upon us, and he'll sit us in front of our enemies while we dine in delight. So we have to hope that will happen. I'm sure God didn't make us for the destruction of our lives by sick, perverted people. So that's the hope I live in every day while I cry, that God will answer me. I made a pact with the Lord, a deal. In the Bible, there is a man called Jephthah from the tribe of Ephraim, and his family shunned him and abandoned him and basically tossed him out of the village. And he went and lived in the outskirts and found himself a new crew of people, new friends in a new village. And he became like a leader. And then his family came to him again and said, "Can you help us fight against the Philistines?" I think it was the Philistines anyway. It was our enemies, and he said, "Okay." And while he was fighting for the tribes of Israel, he made a deal with the Lord. And he said to the Lord, "If you give me victory over this, I will sacrifice the first thing I see when I get home." And so he won. And then the first thing he saw was his daughter. So he sacrificed her to God. And that upset me so much that I couldn't read further after that, for a few days anyway. And I cried so much for this young girl who was a teenager, never married. But what I believe is the Lord would have accepted several cows as a sacrifice. But I made a deal with the Lord as well. And I said, "Okay, if it's all right, I'm going to make a deal with you. If I do the daily light for you every day, because I know you like the daily light, please protect me. Will you help me? Will you fight my enemies for me? Will you stop them from breaking into my home? Will you stop them from torturing me? Will you stop them, my Lord?" I said, "Will you please? Will you help me?" I said, I promise I'll do the daily light for you every day if you'll help me." That was 2 days ago. Anyway, I'm going to hold up my end of the deal. I don't know if God has agreed to it, but that's the deal I wanted to make with him when I get Jeff tested, because I believe all the stories of the Bible. And so I just wanted to share that. And so, yeah, it breaks my heart that this is happening to us. It breaks my heart that our enemies succeed against us. I've said to God, I want to see you move in our lives. I want you to fight for us, and I want this to stop. I want us to have a bit of an ability to go and preach the gospel and have a bit of peace and happiness in our lives, a little bit, just so we can do the work of the Lord. So it's very hard to do when you're being tortured every 2 seconds, being followed and hacked and stalked and terrorized and tortured. So that's what I prayed. I prayed for all of us, that my daily light will provide protection for all of us every day that I do it. I remember my covenant I made with the Lord. I hope that he will answer me. My little deal, I said, I don't have animals I want to sacrifice to you, because Jesus died for me. But I'll do this for you, in the hope that this will put a smile on your face in heaven, that you'll answer my prayers. So I wanted to share that with you. As I sit here, I'm being tortured and cooked alive in my home. All right. Love you lots. It's Aisha from God FM. If you want to find me, you can find me on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Chrome. We're also on Apple, X, Telegram, God FM New, God FM News, and God FM Radio. Very much shadow banned. And you can email me, admin@godfm.org.uk, or you can send a WhatsApp message, +44 0775 77788. Have a wonderful day. It's Aisha from God FM. Take care.